Hi, I'm Bran, and I love Hulu Christmas movies.
I'm Dan, and I despise Hulu Christmas movies.
I'm Alonso, and David Gordon Green is back, baby, and this
Is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host his podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Boom. Hi, everybody. Welcome.
I just want to be clear. The director of many episodes of The Righteous Gemstones never left. It's back. He's never left. Just want to be very clear.
We at Breakfast All Day, we do a thing called Table for One, where it's kind of like our version of a cameo, where you pay us and you pick a movie and we'll review it with you, and you get to keep the audio and the video.
Wow, big time.
It's a very in-depth cameo.
Yeah, it's fun. We have a good time doing it. And somebody recently made us rewatch Halloween Ends.
Oh no!
And yes, David Gordon Green is still doing fine work on TV, but boy, for the last few years on the big screen, he's been mucking about with the Halloween and Exorcist franchises, and it's like, please stop. And so I'm glad he did.
I only saw the first of those 3 Halloween movies and quite enjoyed it, but I did not see the other 2. So.
Didn't care for any of them, and really didn't care for his Exorcist reboot. But I'm a fan, like going all the way back to like George
Pineapple
Washington
Express?
and Pineapple Express. Even like a lot of little movies that sort of fell between the cracks. Like if you've never seen Prince Avalanche with Paul Rudd, or Manglehorn with Al Pacino, these are really good movies that David Gordon Green directed that quite possibly went under your radar.
Shout out to Manglehorn.
How did
A real movie, I swear.
Yes.
How did he get linked up with Righteous Gemstones?
He and Danny McBride both went to film school in North Carolina.
And Jody Hill.
That's
They're
right.
like,
And then they all moved back to Charleston, all 3 of them with all their families. Their kids just go to public school, live in Charleston, South Carolina, and they work together. So Danny McBride wrote Halloween with David Gordon Green. David Gordon Green directs Righteous Gemstones that Danny McBride helms. They work together a lot.
Yeah, and director Jody Hill has done stuff with them as well. I have a fun David Gordon Green story. He lived in Dallas for quite a while when he was much younger, and it turns out that he worked at the movie theater where the film festival that I used to program took place. The AMC Glen Lakes that no longer exists. And then cut 2 years later, he comes back to the festival for opening night. We show Prince Avalanche. I do the Q&A with him. And at the end of the Q&A, he unbuttons his shirt and reveals his T-shirt from like the 1990 film festival that he stole while working there and had kept all these years and wore back to the festival in like 2000 whatever. So it's like, oh, well played, sir.
Fantastic.
Probably when that festival needed that money too, 1990. Stealing merch.
That's $9 we'll never get back.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm sure he paid it back.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
He said, you know what, I can do it now.
Yeah. Sure.
Let's talk Nutcrackers, shall we?
Yeah.
The Hulu movie, November 29th, 2024 is when it dropped, and it went a little something like this. The movie begins with these kids sneaking into a carnival after hours and turning one of the rides back on. The ride goes nuts. Sparks are everywhere. They're able to get away, though, before the security guard catches them. Cut to this smug, rich fella speeding down a rural road. His name is Michael, and he's driving to meet a social worker at his sister's house. His sister and brother-in-law recently passed away, and he thinks that he's just going to have to sign some paperwork. Turns out he needs to watch his nephews until she can find a foster family for them to be placed with. The kids are a lot. There's 4 of them, 4 boys just running around. They live on this massive farm. They kind of do whatever they want. They're running the place. And Michael doesn't have time for this. Okay, he's got a big work presentation he's been working on for 6 years, but the kids won't let him work. These kids keep messing with Michael, and he has no idea what to do. He is not prepared for this, so it's a lot. Michael keeps having to go into town to take calls because he's worried that his boss is going to give his big project to his rival, Dogface Devin. That's his name.
Dogface Devin.
Dogface Devin. And keeps bumping into said social worker. Slowly, he begins to find his footing a bit around the kids, and they begin to understand each other a little bit more. When the opportunity presents itself for for the kids to live elsewhere, but they would be split up, Michael opts to stick around until they can all be placed into one house. There is a family in town that may be interested in adopting the kids. The best part? They're rich. They get invited to come to the Christmas party that they're throwing, and it's going great until the kids put a brick on the gas of the golf cart and it plows through a massive nativity set into the swimming pool. Needless to say, they will not be going to live with this family. There's another prospective foster mom, but after meeting with her, Michael realizes that she may just be in it for the money. Then Mike is hit with a big blow. His project has been taken away from him and given to Dogface. The kid's mom taught ballet, and the kids are pretty good themselves. One of the kids, Junior, even wrote a much better Nutcracker. And Mike, who suddenly has a lot of free time on his hands, tells the kids that they're going to put on a show. They work hard to prepare for the event, and they're all ready to go. Before the show, he's talking to the social worker, Gretchen. When she finds out that all of this is just to get attention on the kids so that a foster family inquires about them, she tells him that the kids are growing attached to him. He tells her that he loves them, but there's no way that he could take care of 4 pain-in-the-butt kids. Unfortunately, one of the kids overhears this, and before he can fix things, he gets a call. His boss wants him back. He goes to tell the kids that it's time to start the show, but he discovers that they have left the theater. Michael goes on stage and tells people that the show is canceled, but when everybody leaves, they see that the kids are going to perform the show outside at their parents' memorial. The show is a big success, and during the performance, the oldest boy, Justice, stabs Michael with a prop sword, and he falls down acting as if he is dead. And laying there and hearing what is going on, he finally comes to the realization that he loves his nephews and does not want to leave them. After the show, he promises the boys that he's not going to leave them. And that, my friends, was
Nutcrackers. We did it.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll break this movie down here on Deck the
Hallmark.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're talking Nutcrackers, the Hulu movie from 2024. Ben Stiller. Big fun. Let's find out. Let's share our thoughts on this with the hot take. I will start with you, Alonso. Alonso, what do you think of Nutcrackers?
So yeah, this is a shaggy movie in the way that a lot of Green's early indies were. If you've seen like George Washington, it's very much a movie about kids running around, actually in an amusement park at one point. And you know, I think that it, given the way the kids are, and they're sort of like somewhere between feral and just bohemian, that's suitable. Like that's what the movie should be like. And I kind of love the fact that Ben Stiller is basically a Hallmark heroine in this movie.
Yeah, big
He's
city.
the big city boy who learns to love. So yeah, I find this movie really charming. I love the performances. I think the 4 kids are amazing. They're apparently the children of an old friend of David Gordon Green's, and when he met them, he was like, I got to build a movie around them. And so, you know, yeah, it sometimes lurches off in weird directions and doesn't quite nail everything it's trying to do. But overall, I find this movie really charming and funny.
We're back, Alonso. You and we're back. I also really enjoyed this movie. I did not see it during the holiday season, and so I watched it for the first time for this, and found myself being really charmed by the movie. I thought that it was, you mentioned the Hallmark. It really is a couple of ticks away from a Hallmark Christmas movie. You know, you put a little bit more of an emphasis on Michael and Gretchen getting together at the end, and you've got yourself a Hallmark movie. It's also a bit like the Greatest Christmas Pageant Ever came to mind while I was watching this, and but I thought that the kids were just really fun. Like it was clear to me that they were having fun while they were doing this, and they're not actors. And I found that to be really charming and wonderful in this movie. And I love Ben Stiller. And so I thoroughly enjoyed this movie way more than I anticipated, to be honest with you. Like I watched a trailer and I was like, oh, this is going to be one of them sad Christmas movies. And I did not find it to be overly sad. I found it to be quite heartwarming and endearing. Dana?
Yeah, this movie rules. I loved this movie. I was so shocked by how good this movie was. David Gordon Green goes up to Ohio, shoots on 35 millimeter film, and makes a very he makes an independent Hallmark movie is what he does. He gets Linda Cardellini and Edie Patterson and Ben Stiller, and then these kids, clearly just friends of a friend because they're real kids. There's no acting. Ben Stiller is doing amazing work. Just these kids interrupt him constantly, and he just pauses and he takes a beat and he tries to get him back on track, just like you would real kids. It shocks you with some really funny scenes that are just have the same tenor as the rest of the film does. It is meandering, it's wandering, but in all the best ways, super heartfelt. The performance at the end is magical. It's so good, so Christmassy, so fun. It's my favorite new Christmas release from 2024.
There you go.
I did some thinking on it in the war room and out of the war room for that matter. and I don't know what really would come close to this that was released Christmas 2024.
We haven't done Christmas Eve in Miller's Point yet.
We haven't. I've not seen it, but that's all that's left. So we'll see what happens. But I clearly that's where you are. I just am like, of all the Hallmark, Lifetime, and then theatrical, and we've done Carry On, Red One. This is the best one. I loved it. It's exactly what it should be. I mean, an indie Hallmark movie, like fantastic, great.
Yeah.
They nailed it.
It's time for all the feels, where we talk about when this movie gave us feels. Alonso?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I am somebody who is not, I don't have a proclivity for taking care of kids. Like I was youngest child, youngest grandchild. So I grew up with everybody around me being older. So I never learned how to sort of talk to little kids or tend to them or whatever. I don't have that gene. I don't have that skill, but I also like to think that given in some bizarre thing where my entire family is wiped out, I could step up for the kids who would need me to be there for them. So I totally relate to Ben Stiller's arc in this. I love how much of the movie he spends just trying to get rid of them, trying to fob them off on somebody, anybody. But the more time he spends with them, the more selective he gets, and then ultimately kind of realizes, no, it's got to be me. I have to step up here. So just his trajectory in general, the way the older kid keeps asking him, are you going to be here tomorrow? I thought was just like, and yeah, that final performance is great because they're right. The Nutcracker for the music is wonderful, but the story is terrible. And just try watching any Nutcracker movie; none of them work. So yeah, I love the fact that they were willing to rewrite it. So plenty of feels here.
Yeah. Ben Stiller having to teach a sex ed class for these kids is very funny. He's very funny in it. And then the kids are also hilarious. The things that they're saying are so funny. And, I think Dan and I will be quoting some of these lines.
You're not going to say it, huh?
Well, there's a kid. No, I'm not going to. But it's a very funny scene. But I now have a new thing that I aspire towards, which is when Ben Stiller goes to the rich guy's Christmas party. He's talking to this guy, and this guy, for some reason, says this line to Ben Stiller: "What's a hot shot hunk like you doing around here?" And that's now something I just want someone to say to me, someone I don't know very well.
No. Yeah, if you're listening, you can't say it.
You can't say it.
It's got to be random.
It has to be random. It has to come out, organic and authentically. I want someone to come up to me and just say, "So, hey, what's a hot hotshot hunk like you doing around here? I think that would kind of make my day and my life. So new goal for me. Dano?
Yeah, I had two, aside from the ones that were all mentioned, the hotshot hunk included, obviously. We've been watching this series called Hearts Around the Table for Hallmark. Yikes. But Hallmark does a lot of stuff around the foster care adoption world, and their intent is always very good, and their impact typically is C+ at best. This movie kind of flips that, whereas in showing a movie that is heartfelt but is on the surface very much Ben Stiller just going, somebody take these freaking kids from me right now. It actually shows you a much more realistic picture of foster care and found family. And I think it does so very, very well. Even the weird Edie Patterson character, who Edie Patterson's almost always a delight, but in this movie, she's this weird person that's trying to collect foster kids for the paycheck. And it's kind of disturbing. It's like the most disturbing part of this movie by a good distance. But this movie does show you like the impact of presence, of just being present. And I love that. And then second, and this is really just me, I had an Uncle Mike, my dad's brother, who passed away suddenly when I was in middle school. And he was, single dude, never had kids. And like whenever we hung out, he worked in a movie theater. I would talk movies with him all the time, but there's no way my parents would have ever left just Uncle Mike in charge of us ever. And he was awesome. Like the movie, when he passed away, I got all of these like original movie posters. They hang in my house to this day. I love my Uncle Mike dearly. So this like reminded me of him. So that was cool too.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll get to the Wait What's and the What the Hallmark here on
Deck the Hallmark.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking Nutcrackers today, 2024. Let's go to the Wait What's. This is where we talk about what in this movie made us go, wait, what? I'll start with you, Alonso.
I don't know that I have any.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we are reaching. I have one just very technicality one, and Bran has a decent one, and that's all we got.
We could split some hairs about cell phone reception, but like
that's when you know.
I don't know what the story is in America's farmland, so I don't know. What do you got, Bram?
Well, I got one that is just like what's wrong with this person on Reddit. When I googled this movie,
that's not a way.
I was brought to a Reddit post in the movies subreddit that just says Nutcrackers starring Ben Stiller ruined my day.
Wow.
And then it's just a rant about this movie. And then I read the comments, and a lot of people really didn't like this movie.
It's so
and
weird.
I don't know what's wrong with them. And this person deleted their page on Reddit, and so maybe they were shamed. Maybe they were shamed, and they said, I'm going to delete my Reddit. I can't do it anymore.
The Rotten Tomatoes score is not stellar.
That was kind of my What the Hallmark or Hulu you didn't. I don't know whatever that is. Like the critics were very mixed on this, and I don't know what they were looking for. I was shocked to see that.
But as far as movie Wait What's go, when he shows up for the first time, the cop is out there, and he hands him this bill for the stuff that they broke at the carnival, and included in that is some fried Oreos. And the carnival had been closed for a while. I don't know if they were just
fried Oreos sit
they
around.
just lying around, or on their way out of running away from the carnival, did they stop by, crank up the fryer, wait for it to come to temp, put them in there? I don't know what the deal is there, but if the fried Oreos are left over from when it was open, you don't want to touch those suckers, and you should give those away for free because they're going to waste anyway. Dano?
Yeah. Also, it's like $100 worth. I'm like,
that's a lot of fried Oreos. I mean, not that it must be retail cost, I guess. A fried Oreo is only good if you eat it within the first like 10 minutes after it's fried. Like you can't tell me there were 75 fried Oreos sitting around there. It's crazy. This is super technical, and maybe you could take it to the tape, but I'm pretty sure this happens in this order, like 99% sure. Rewound it while I was watching it. The first time he tries to make coffee in the coffee pot, it's leaking everywhere out of every side. It's a mess. Later in the movie, Linda Cardellini stops by. He goes to the coffee pot. It is completely clean. It's pristine. He pours a cup out of it. And then at the end of the movie, he goes to try to talk what's his name into being the Nutcracker, and he says, Junior got the coffee maker working. I couldn't figure it out. No, the coffee maker's been fixed for at least a day now. That's as good as I've got. That's all I've got is the timeline of the coffee maker doesn't add up.
Yeah.
We need answers.
It was fixed before then, and you know it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and then like the other one, they're doing, they're basically doing crosswalk Broadway,
Yes.
James Corden style out there, and there are cars behind them shining the lights, and we talked about how the cop comes in and he tells Ben Stiller, hey,
gotta
they're
move the
moving cars or
cars.
whatever. But then there are people like getting out of their car looking. Are they driving? Are they waiting? Are they going to have to wait this out? Because there are some people leaning out of their car that's facing.
Got to be able to go around.
You got to go around or something, right? But
There's a sign that says ballet zone.
But it's the ballet zone. You got to go around that sucker. It's time for What the Hallmark or the Hulu, where we wonder what could have been. Maybe have it goes to clarity and questions we still have. What are we still wondering about? I'll start with you, Alonso.
Well, I kind of love the fact you were saying this is one sort of, romance shy of being full on Hallmark. Like if you sit through the closing credits, you do get like the beginnings of a genuine courtship between Ben Stiller and Linda Cardellini. You just kind of want to see like how he adjusts to the town once he, obviously he's all in on now taking care of these kids. But for Mr. Hotshot Chicago yellow Ferrari to suddenly find himself in this like one stoplight ballet zone, Ohio, agrarian town, that's a whole other Ben Stiller movie, I think, of him like learning to dial down his, neuroses and cope with that stuff.
It's every Ben
Listen,
Stiller
he's
movie.
a hotshot hunk.
True,
What's he
yeah,
doing
yeah.
around here? That's what we're all wondering. We talked about how the kids, weren't like, he goes there, he like sees these kids and he's like, I'm basically going to write a movie around these kids, which is a phenomenal story. These kids, I imagine they took some acting classes beforehand. But the thing that I was intrigued by was the ballet. Like these kids were really talented.
They were trained ballet dancers.
Really talented.
Wow.
And like they're not old. Like they're kid. Like they seem like they've been doing ballet since birth. But like I was very impressed by the ballet of it all. And how long you been doing ballet? I guess is by What the Hallmark at the end of the day. But like obviously he must have gotten to know the kids some more, and like writing this movie, like obviously wrote this with them in mind. All of it's just very interesting, and I just kind of want to know more about the process of how what got put into the movie because these kids were already so good at it, and what is them acting like, just stuff like that. I'm very interested in. Dano?
Yeah, mine's similar to that, which is just I would love to know, what favors were called in for this cast. A movie that probably could have been, shot for really cheap with no cast, but like. Is this, I can't imagine Ben Stiller doing this just to take a paycheck. Like, I know that Danny McBride worked on Tropic Thunder and they have a relationship. Ben Stiller's really heavily involved in Severance. Like, somebody called
Stiller's production company co-produced the film.
Okay, so he just did it as probably for scale so they could keep the movie cheap then. Okay,
Yeah.
That kind of answers my question, because this movie does kind of mash up a true independent film with some pretty big name stars. So I that was my only question. That's all I have. Yeah. Maybe the shortest episode of Deck the Hallmark ever, Brain.
No, I don't think so.
Truly Madly Sweetly's up there. It's really short. That's how I remember.
Well, listen, sometimes there's really good movies, and it's
It's good.
yeah.
Go watch it.
I have a non-holiday recommendation, by the way. If you like Ben Stiller and you like The White Lotus, you should check out Brad's Status,
Okay.
a Mike White comedy starring Ben Stiller that is on Prime Video. That is one of my favorite films of the last few years that I think people don't know exists, but it's really great.
There you
And
go.
Manglehorn too.
And
Yeah,
Manglehorn. You
shout
got
out
to jump on that
Manglehorn, of
Manglehorn.
course.
We're going to be back next Monday with Alonso, and I believe we are doing Miller's Point, which Alonso alluded to earlier in this episode.
Nice.
So we're finally getting there, and I can't wait for it. And then, of course, we'll be back tomorrow, Dan. You and I doing this thing. Until then, maybe the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.